So, after Speaker Johnson's failure to get a combined bill to fund the government and implement stricter voter registration requirements through his own chamber, House Republicans are already abandoning his plan. Being fully aware a shutdown will hurt their chances at re-election this November, they're planning to move on to Plan B. Here are some of those details from the Hill. Top appropriators have already launched bipartisan talks in both chambers, and senior lawmakers said they expect the continuing resolution will extend 2024 funding into December while excluding the more stringent voter eligibility rules demanded by former President Donald Trump. Rather than funding a 6-month extension, the GOP is looking at a 3-month extension that would expire in mid-December, setting up a lame duck session of Congress grappling with passing another continuing resolution, something the Democrats have previously said they are not in favor of. Here's some more from the Hill. The timing of the bill's release remains unclear, but congressional aides say they expect Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican of Louisiana, and his allies on the House Appropriations Committee to post the text of CR on Sunday. And some House GOP appropriators said they want to move quickly out of concern that the price tag will grow significantly if the Senate moves first. Early expectations are that we will see a weekend release of the bill with maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday vote, but it's all still pretty uncertain. Perhaps one of the more alarming parts of all of this is that Marjorie Taylor Greene may have been right. Let's remind ourselves of what she said about this fight as it was starting to shape up. This is a tweet from earlier this week. She said, it's pretty long, I'll just read part of it for you. It says Johnson will not commit to standing up against the Democrats in a shutdown fight and will allow passage of a clean CR in order to fund the government because he believes a government shutdown will be blamed on Republicans and will hurt their elections. Johnson is leading a fake fight that he has no intention of actually fighting. Even with a shutdown and full fight into October, it would be too late for the SAVE Act to make a difference for this election because absentee ballots would already be being mailed and early voting already starting. I refuse to lie to anyone that this plan will work, and it's already DOA this week. Speaker Johnson needs to go to the Democrats, who he has worked with the entire time, to get the votes he needs to do what he is already planning to do. So what do you think, Brett? Do you think maybe she was onto something?
Listen, I think that many Americans, when they hear about government shutdowns, are like, I don't know what that means. I think if someone I like says it's a good idea, then it's a good idea. If someone I don't like says it's a bad idea, then it's a bad idea. Republicans are more inclined to say, yeah, shut it down. I don't care. Because I think most of my tax dollars that go to the government are a waste anyway. And I can't tell the difference between when the government's open and the government's closed because it's such a piece of crap. That said, like, folks also just don't like dysfunction. And if you can convince a majority and move the needle a little bit that it is one party's fault, then I think you come out smelling like roses. And I think the Democrats have already proven that they can win that kind of rhetorical fight because Donald Trump and the Republicans, with the exception of Speaker Johnson, just don't really get this fight at all. They don't know the marginal change you can get in the electorate's opinion. Like, I think the Democrats need to make an argument that they are the side that actually makes it work better. Like, Donald Trump wanted to destroy the Constitution and all the voting that happens in America. He wants to destroy the Constitution of the United States. The Democrats passed an infrastructure bill. There's roads and bridges, and you're not going to see them for a while, but there's actually money going toward them so that all your, complaints about horrible roads and bridges and infrastructure and expensive energy, that goes away. That gets alleviated in the future. But also with the immigration bill, Donald Trump shows up and ruins that. Previously, there was a government shutdown where he literally sits down in the Oval Office or wherever with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and says, I want to shut the government down. And they're like, great, awesome, cool, it's on you. I can play that soundbite over and over again but the challenge is they need to draw a line. Like, people say that Donald Trump just blows up all the dysfunction in Washington. They need to convince people that he creates the dysfunction in Washington. And this is where they see some light. But the Republicans have proven with their entire, like, get rid of Kevin McCarthy fiasco that they are, when left to their own devices, everything that the average American thinks is wrong with politics.
Yeah. Yeah, and that immigration bill that even came up during the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and she called him out for that, for saying, look, we had a bill that was ready to go, and you said no because you said it would be better to have that as an issue that you could run on later in the November election. And then on top of that, the overall dysfunction of what we're seeing, it is so stressful for people. And I know they talked about this a little bit on yesterday's show, so I don't want to rehash too much of it. But I think it was Sean Hannity was saying how, like this isn't even that big of a deal. Why do people care so much if they shut down the government? Because it's basically a free vacation for people. The non-essential workers, they usually either get paid or they get back paid during the time. People need that money. A lot of people cannot afford to wait for back pay, however long it goes on for. Like at sometimes we've had the government shut down for months at a time. That is damaging for people. And also, Trump, he's a private citizen. He's just some guy. If the Republicans can't get their stuff together with or without this guy, like he shouldn't even be a factor for them right now. But they have let him continue to be relevant to the detriment of their overall party. And they look crazy now, and they look like they don't have any idea what they're doing. Even Lindsey Graham and just the Mitch McConnell, these old school Republicans, they look very inept right now. So let's keep all that in mind. But also, last year when the Republicans almost forced a shutdown, the voters did blame them for it. Take a look at this. This shows the shares of voters who said the following would be most likely to blame for a shutdown. Republicans were mostly to blame amongst all voters, Democrats and independents. Even Republicans still blame the Republicans by 15%, which is interesting.
Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.